dear adjudicators, you only need two things in order to decide what to do in this debate. First, you have to balance the harms and good, the benefits of this proposal, and the second, to see whether this information is necessary for the people to make the right choices. And that's why those are going to be my two themes. The first is going to be whether we get more public outrage or we get more informed public. And the second would be whether this information is necessary for solving the problems that we are facing. But before that, most of my refutation would be integrated in my themes, but only one thing that I must mention now. Elor didn't actually refute any of the points that Mufar gave us, neither the point of the complexity when you see and know all the facts in the media and get more informed decision because of that, and nor the argument about the accountability of the government and the immediate effect it has on such decisions. So from here to my points, which we say that Mufar points still stand. First of all, does it cause more public outrage or more informed public? We got from the whole side of proposition, both from second prop and from first prop, the idea that the press create hate. Liraz told us there is us against them, and there is stereotypes, and the media has the interest, and both yes, I'm sorry, they have the interest to enhance the public outrage in only one way because of the ratings. And what Mufar gave us in this is that first they have the interest to get it to both sides. Why? Because like the political arena, also in the media, you have two sides. You have left-wing newsletters, you have right-wing media, and they are competing against each other. So you have on one side CNN, and on the other Fox. You have from one side The Guardian with left-wing, and when you see Muslim attacks, they're gonna talk about the problem with the Muslims, and when you have The Economist, they would say how we should kill all of them, for example. So we do have both sides, and moreover we know those sides. We know that The Economist is right-wing, and that's why when we read their newsletters and their articles, we understand that this is the side that they are taking. And even if I read only one paper, when I have the discourse with other people, then it balances itself. Because I read Haaretz and you read Israel Hayom, and then when we talk between ourselves, then we can get all of the information from both sides, and therefore you are more informed. And then Itai talked about, well, the media only gives us bad and short information. And this is with a bit tension to their other arguments, which say that the media has the incentive to cover it 24/7 all the time and give as much facts that they could base their either racism or hate on it. So they can't give short information. They have to give more and more information, also because of the competitive nature of the media, but also because this is what interests people, and therefore we think that they do have an interest to give the most thorough information. And then first up came with great arguments about the negative sides. What happens when we don't give people the information? It creates panics and it gives them enigmas which they have to solve. But then Mufar gave you the positive side, which means what happens when we do give the information to them. And it all started in my POI about the British being beheaded, the British soldier being beheaded, and in contrast to the 9/11, where in the British case we saw that there was no backlash, there was no hate against Muslims, while in 9/11 we did get them. So Itai told us there was different exposure, but this is wrong, because in the British case we saw the man who did the beheading interviewed on the media 24/7 all the time, and we got a lot of exposure to him. So what was different? The difference is that the media allowed us to understand what is the difference between those two terror attacks. 9/11 was an organized terror at its best or worst, depending on which side you are. There was a whole organization standing there, planning this for months and doing this. While the British case was two mad people, which happened to be Muslims, but could be either any case, any race, and therefore we could have the justified or the proportional response in the level of citizens. We could say that The British case, the Muslim attackers there were in that case were the exception, while 9/11 was organized, and therefore we must invade Afghanistan, for example. So we think that there is more good than harm. We think that there is no public outrage, and if there is public outrage, it is justified because the media allows us to understand the complexity. Before going to my second point, yes, Ita.
I think it's just like Nufar said, the media channels want to satisfy their own viewers. Therefore, they will not show every side of the attack or every side of the government. They show their side, and therefore I will see only what I want to see.
First of all, I think that the average voter isn't exposed only to one channel. We do zap on the commercials. We do read also newspapers and watch TV channels, and therefore we think you get two sides of the story, or three sides, or five sides. But moreover, we think that you talk with other people, and if you have people at work which are right wing and left wing, which is the probable case because we don't have all the left wings working at one place and all the right wings in another place, then you do get both sides of the story and both sides of the discourse. So necessary for solving the problems. We started with what, well, they told us at Lira's speech that this knowledge is irrelevant, and they continued with saying that you better not know it because it would make you anxious. We think that you should be anxious. If there are repeating terror attacks or even single occasion attacks on your country from the side of Al-Qaeda, you should be anxious because it allows you to deal with the problems. And how does it allow you to deal with the problems? This is exactly where my POI about Benghazi and the Obama administration comes to this point, and that's what Nufar told you. Once you know what was the motivation, once you know this was not because of the movie about Muhammad, and you know this was an organized terror attack against Libya, against the American embassy in Libya, you can demand accountability from your administration. It means that not only you can vote, as first told us, you can take immediate action, like protest, like using Facebook, like using the media in order to criticize the government and to enhance, for example, the airport security in the case of 9/11, to enhance the security in the embassies, like in the case of Benghazi, and to, for example, apply racial profiling in any other case. So we think both this is necessary for the citizens to demand accountability from the government, and even if it isn't necessary, it's more good than bad. For those reasons, don't accept the proposition.
We thank Avitai very much, and we call you to shake hands outside, and we'll call you back in soon.